everybody, I'm Becky Kaufman and this is Saving Taste. We're moving right along with our chocolate series, and today we're going to make a really refined dish, which is Mocha Mousse. It has coffee and chocolate, which go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly. So the first thing we're going to do is melt 8 ounces of chocolate chips with some coffee and some water. This is a 1/4 cup of water, and I'm going to add a cup of coffee to it. This is pretty strong coffee, but it's nothing special. It's not espresso. So this goes in our pan. We're going to turn that on medium-low heat. When you melt chocolate on the stove, some people use a double boiler because it does tend to burn. But if you keep an eye on it and stir it often, you'll be just fine. Don't worry if it looks a little funny because the coffee and the chocolate are going to separate a little bit. When you stir it, it's going to come right back together. So the thing that makes our mousse into mousse rather than pudding or soup is gelatin. Gelatin has a little bit of a trick to it, but it's not difficult. I have 3 tablespoons of water here and just a packet of powdered gelatin. What we're going to do is bloom it. Just sprinkle it over the top, and you're going to have to wait about 5 minutes. So while we're waiting for our gelatin to bloom and our chocolate to melt, we're going to beat up some cream. Cream gives the mousse body, and it tastes really good. One thing I want to mention is that cream beats up best when it's cold, so these just came out of the freezer. Alright, so we're going to pour our cream into the mixer, which I just did, and start it low, and we'll gradually turn it up as it goes. Cream's going to really give the mousse body. It does make up the majority of what it is, because cream doesn't have much of a flavor by itself, but chocolate does, so the two marry perfectly. So it's been about 5 minutes and our gelatin is bloomed. It's kind of spongy and it looks pretty weird, but this is exactly what it should look like. And it all comes out at once. And just mix it into your warm chocolate. You don't want your chocolate so hot right off the stove. You can probably see a little steam coming off of it. But it's not a big deal. It's actually been in the freezer for a couple minutes if you need to chill it in a hurry. So I've stirred my gelatin in and it's completely dissolved, which is exactly what you want. Now I'm going to reach for my special friend. It makes it a little more fun. So you can use chocolate liqueur, you can use coffee liqueur. I like to put it in now just so you get a little bit of the alcohol flavor. Less than a shot, you only need about a tablespoon. But if you're serving this to kids, you can always put it in with the coffee at the very beginning and cook out the alcohol. So just stir that in. We're going to put in about a teaspoon of vanilla. Just helps give it a little depth of flavor. Chocolate things still need vanilla too. So we're going to reach for our heavy cream. And this is, I just beat it, so it's still in pretty good shape. But if your cream tends to deflate, which it will after a little while in the refrigerator, just beat it with a hand whisk or put it back in your mixer and it's going to come right back to life. So what we want to do is fold this in, and you want to be gentle, you don't want to deflate it. What I do is I take a little of the whipped cream and just stir it in completely. It helps to lighten up the chocolate. That way when you stir in the bulk of your whipped cream, it's not going to deflate. So our first little blob of cream is completely dissolved, and you probably want to add this in about 2 additions. So just take about half of your whipped cream and fold it in. Don't worry if it looks soupy at this point, it has gelatin in it. So even if it's liquid, it's going to set up. A lot of the times when you make mousse, it's just chocolate and whipped cream. You have to be really careful and really delicate with it, because if you deflate it, there's no coming back. But this recipe is a little more forgiving. So it does take a minute for this all to come together. Like I said, don't worry if it's soupy. Mousse is one of my favorite desserts. I love heavy cream and whipped cream and anything that goes in it. So I make this one a lot. It's funny, my roommate doesn't spell that well, and she tends to spell it M-O-O-S-E. It's not the right way to do it. Mousse is a French thing. It's light, it's airy, it's kind of snobby, so it all goes together. Once this comes together, we're going to spoon it into some really pretty teacups. This makes about between 6 and 8 6-ounce servings. So I'm using a spatula for this. Rubber spatula is one of your best friends in the kitchen. Make sure you get a heat-proof one. It's really the perfect thing to cook scrambled eggs with or melt chocolate with, and you can get every last drop out of batter or mousse out of your bowl that way, which is always good, except if you want to lick the bowl, then you can just pretend you never used one. So I have my teacups. And I need a spoon. And this just gets spooned in. I'm going to do 4 of these little ones, and I'm just going to save the rest in the bowl. Takes a minute, but it's worth it. So we're going to pick this up. You can see this beautiful color. It's really dark in chocolate, and as it as it sets up in the fridge, it does change texture a little bit. The cocoa solids will sink to the bottom of the cup, and the lighter stuff will be on top, so it just gets richer and more chocolatey as you eat. I think it's a good thing. A lot of mousses and Bavarian creams do that settling thing. Not to worry, and it looks pretty anyway. So it's been about an hour and our mousse is finally done, and after we turn the camera off, I get to eat it. But we have to finish it up a little first. You can, if you think of it, which I didn't, you can always save a little of the cream that you made beforehand and dot it on top. What I like to do is just use my microplane and grate some chocolate over top, because a little more chocolate never hurt. And that's done. And that's it. Easy and sophisticated and absolutely wonderful. So thank you for watching. I hope you make my mousse, and remember, if it doesn't taste good, don't eat it.